Hello, my name is Julian Cardona, and today I'm going to be giving you a small lecture about the necessary components for a public address. The first thing that we should talk about is the base of everything, and that is what is public speaking. According to a webpage called Envato Tuts Plus, public speaking is a presentation that's given live before an audience. Public speeches can cover a wide variety of different topics. The goal of the speech may be to educate, to entertain, or to influence the listener. Often, visual aids in a form of an electronic slideshow are used to supplement the speech, and this makes it more interesting to the listener. With this definition, we can see that public speaking is mainly the act of standing up and talking to an audience, independent of the topic, of what you use as visual aids, and what is your purpose. Those things will be developed later, but for now, we know that public speaking is the act of successfully talking to a group of people. In this speech, we're going to take what we have learned about things like rhetoric, arguments, and even the presentation of TED Talks and do a short lecture about it. We're going to be taking into account the definition of public speaking that I just gave you and the key aspects of rhetoric studied in the books and lectures. And this will be used with the TED Talks and arguments as well. The first thing that we're going to talk about is what is rhetoric. The University of Illinois gives the following definition of what rhetoric is. Rhetoric is the way in which you communicate in everyday life. Thus, communications can be persuasive in nature and can be made of text, images, videos, or any other type of media. This means that we use rhetoric in our everyday life at every moment because we're trying to communicate something that is in our minds to other people. We can do it in a speech, we're talking to a friend, making a drawing, making a video, making a movie. When we watch a movie, when we watch a video, we are receiving what the person that made it intended to say to us. Next, we're going to see where rhetoric comes from. This is something that we studied at the beginning of the semester when we read Rhetoric, a very short introduction by Richard Toy. This book is a great source to talk about the beginnings of rhetoric and some of the more specific ideas regarding it. Rhetoric, as we see in the book, began in the 5th century BCE in the city of Athens in ancient Greece. Some of the key figures are Plato, Aristotle, and even the Apostle Paul, who all use rhetoric in their writings and in their speeches in order to persuade people into what they think is correct or what they know is correct. In this book, we can also see a very important concept that was defined by Aristotle, which was the three appeals which are crucial to speeches. These are ethos, which is an appeal to character, pathos, which is an appeal to emotion, and logos, which is an appeal to logic. Uh, Now we're going to talk about what are some of the correct and incorrect uses of these three. And this is something that was taken from the University Writing Center of the University of Central Florida. First, about logos or logic. When used correctly, we can have arguments or rhetoric with strong, clear claims, reasonable qualifier for claims, warrants that are valid, clear reasons for claims, and strong evidence like facts, statistics, personal experience, the authority of people with our experts, interviews, etc. Also, we can acknowledge the opposition when we use it correctly. When it's used in an incorrect way, appeal to logic or to logos can include things like overgeneralized claims, reasons that are not fully explained or supported, logical fallacies, evidence that is misused or ignored, or no recognition of the opposing views. When we do these things wrong, we can look like we are not using logos, but we are using our emotions. When we are using logos, we have to look that we have evidence, that we have strong basis in order to make our argument. Now we're gonna move over to ethos. That when used correctly, the writer is seen as a well-informed person about the topic, is confident in his or her position, is sincere and honest, is understanding of the reader's concerns and their possible objections, and is humane and considerate. But when it is used incorrectly, the writer can be viewed as unfair or dishonest, distorting or misinterpreting the information, which means that this person is biased, insulting or dismissive of other viewpoints, and even advocating for intolerant ideas. Now we're gonna move over to pathos. When pathos is done correctly, it reinforces logical arguments. Uses imagery to create a bond with the reader in a human way. It appeals to things like idealism, beauty, humor, nostalgia, or even pity, and, and other types of emotions in a good way. It doesn't use it uses emotions in a correct way. And when used improperly, it becomes a substitute for logic and reason, which is something that is used by TV, magazine with propaganda, which relies strongly on emotions rather than on logic. It seeks to achieve an emotional reaction from people in order to get them to buy a product or something instead of appealing to their logic. It uses stereotypes to make groups go against each other, which can be used in propaganda, political propaganda, and political advertising. Uh, and offers simple, unthinking reactions to a complex problem, and it takes advantage of emotions to manipulate people through things like hate, pity, prejudice, embarrassment. It uses these emotions to take advantage of people and manipulate them and convince them of what they want instead of what is true. All of these things are really important when making speeches, but they are also important for example, for us Christians. When we are, for example, sharing the gospel, we have to know which type of these three to use. We can, when a person is very smart and very knowledgeable, when, for example, an atheist that is a doctor or something, we can use more of a logic appeal towards the gospel. We can use more facts, more scientific data that proves the gospel and the resurrection of Christ. Or in other cases, when people are more susceptible to emotion, we can use emotions in a correct way, show the sacrifice that Christ made for us in the cross, and show and try to lead through that way. I'm not saying that the gospel can be modified or can be shared in different ways, because the gospel is only one. The gospel is always the same and is unchanging. But what I'm saying is that it can be used in different effective ways without changing the message. It can be modified in the way it's delivered without changing the message. And now that we have talked about these topics in Toy's book, we can move to another book that we read, which is Thank You for Arguing by Henricks. He keeps talking a little bit about rhetoric and gives a definition, but he has some other aspects that I want to focus on more. For him, rhetoric is the art of influence, friendship, and eloquence, of ready wit and irrefutable logic, which is something very similar to what Toy says, but for me, the most important part of this book, in my opinion, is arguments, which is the next topic we're going to talk about. Uh, because of this, we're going to start seeing what is an argument. A very good definition that I found of an argument comes from Monty Python's Argument Clinic sketch, in which they say an argument is a connected series of statements intended to establish a definite proposition. An argument is an intellectual process. Contradiction is just the automatic gainsaying of anything the other person says. This means that to make an argument, you need more than just piggybacking of someone else's argument or just contradicting the argument that they just made. You need to make the complete thought process yourself. You need to have all of the pieces of an argument in order to provide one. You can't just take someone's argument, someone's ideas, and make an argument based on that. You have to work it yourself. Now, there is a common misconception that when we talk, in which we tend to say that an argument is the same thing as a fight. When we are having an altercation with someone, we say that we are arguing and that we are fighting as interchangeable terms. But are they? According to Heinrich, they are not. Uh, in this chart, you can see that there is a difference. An argument, you try to win over the audience correctly, you seek to solve a problem, you work out difference, you look for consensus, uh, you succeed in winning over the audience. And the moment that you succeed is when you win over the audience. Sorry. And when done skillfully, people wanna do what you want them to do. If you make a correct argument with the correct pieces of the argument, and you do it effectively, you can you can create something that is helpful and that it will help win over the audience. It's not something that you are just imposing, but people are gonna want to believe in what you say. In the difference between a fight is used to attack each other, seeks to outdo the opponent, does not consider discussions as a means to solve problems, and the success is by domination. It does not persuade and often inspires revenge or retreat, and agreement doesn't matter. The difference is that when you give an argument, you want to impose, you want to give your point of view, and it's given so well that people are gonna believe you and they're gonna win. You're gonna win over the audience. When you fight, you want to impose something by force. You want to force it, and people are not gonna accept this. People are gonna sometimes seek revenge. They're gonna retreat. They're gonna completely take your idea away, and they're not gonna agree with you. So that will be a problem. The last thing that I will say about Heinrich is that he says that it is important to establish our goal, what we want to get out of the argument. This can be done by either changing the mood, changing the mind, or increasing the willingness to do something or stop doing it of the crowd. This is all of the crowd. That you can, if you want to change their mood, you have to use a way that they will become sad, or they will become happy, or they will become excited. You can also change the mind, maybe change an idea that people have, change something that they thought, and now with your evidence and with your argument, they can see that it's not true. Or you want to increase their willingness to do or don't do something, like maybe, for example, buy a product or take a vacation or something like that. With your speech, you're wanting for them to do it or not do it. Now we're going to talk about TED Talks and about Donovan's book that is called How to Deliver a TED Talk, in which, as the title says, he focused on how to deliver a TED Talk in the best possible way. The best way to start is to have an idea that is worth spreading, something that you are passionate about and that you care about and you want to share with the world. There are also different types of ideas that can be shared, and Donovan says that there are three main categories for this, which are: first is the educator, which seeks to, under, to understand something of nature. Then the entertainers, which seek to entertain and to teach us the secret of their craft. And lastly are the change agents who seek to inspire us. Some of the people that fall under the educator category are inventors, life scientists, natural scientists, and social scientists. Some of the people that fall under the entertainer category are comedians, magicians, writers, performing artists, and visual artists. And some of the people that fall under the change activist category are activists, authorities, business gurus, explorers, personal gurus, and social entrepreneurs. Now we're gonna move to another person that is helpful when talking about TED Talks, and it's Kelly Allison from Ethos 3, who gives us some great tips that can be followed as well when the moment we're choosing a TED Talk, which is the most important part. When you choose the TED Talk, then writing becomes easier. You can choose a topic that you have a unique perspective on. You can find out why people should care about this topic. You can write your topic as one sentence, then discover the story of your topic, integrate a bit about who you are into the topic, and make it universal. This all is helpful because when you choose something that you're passionate about, you should then find out why people should care about this topic, why people should care about why you love soccer, why you love healthy food, why you love something. You should find why people should emphasize with you and why that TED Talk is worth giving. When you write it as one sentence, you summarize it, and that way you can have your idea concise, which is very helpful. Uh, when you discover the story of your topic, maybe you can find a personal anecdote or a story of another person or different stories of different people that can help you with the development of your speech. And you have to integrate a bit about who you are, like, for example, a personal story, like I said, but show why you're passionate, why this thing makes you passionate, why you love it, why it's the reason that you want to make a TED Talk about it. But then make it universal. Yes, it's great for you and it's important for you, but why is it for everyone? Why should everyone know about this topic? You should talk in universal terms, because when people listen to your TED Talk, they don't want only to hear why you love it. They want to hear why they should love it as well. Now, I would like to finish up with a video that I saw before making my presentations, and that has been really helpful to me. That is called Be a More Confident Public Speaker by the channel on YouTube called Watch Your Wellcast. I saw it and it really helped me prepare for speeches that we had to do this semester, and it can be helpful for any type of presentation in your academic life.
Okay, just get up on that podium. All right, I'm here. That was easy. Now I just need to... Oh my gosh! How many people are in the audience? 100? 1,000? Don't count. Okay, I can do this. I'm gonna focus on my notes. What did I have written down again? Hello. Okay, if this sounds like your worst nightmare, you're not alone. Actually, you're one of the estimated 70% of the population that has an intense fear of public speaking. And that's okay, because on today's Wellcast, we've got our triple P method that will get you through and get you calm during that next oral report and keep your breakfast where it belongs. You ready? Many polls list public speaking as the most commonly reported phobia among Americans. It's called glossophobia, meaning literally, fear of the tongue. A study by Texas Christian University tested 48 women and 48 men enrolled in a public speaking class and found that those who exhibited high trait anxiety had the most physical symptoms of distress when speaking publicly. So, what if you're the kind of person whom any bit of social acrobatics is tantamount to entering a lion's den? Hey, calm down. Okay, I'm just kidding, but seriously, calm down, all right? We've got our triple P method that'll get you through that next public speaking gig. Pause and print this Wellcast worksheet. Step 1, prepare, prepare, prepare. We said it 3 times because it's that important.
There are 2 things that go into being prepared. Number 1, knowing your subject backwards and forwards. 2, knowing exactly how you're going to present it step by step. In your Wellcast worksheet, write down the major points that you want to get across to the audience. Get the ideas out of your head and onto the paper.
Okay. And the next column to the right. Start ordering these points in a logical manner. Arguing your point to the audience and winning them over is like a boxing match. First, start with some fancy footwork. A fact or an anecdote that will hook the audience in and get them to pay attention to you. Then, throw a couple of swings. Supporting evidence for your argument. Stats, personal stories. Something that will start to convince the audience that you're taking control. And finally, the knockout. A landing blow of statements that's memorable, convincing, and sums up your speech's position. All right, step 2. Posture and physicality are key. Part of keeping your anxiety at bay while giving your speech is knowing what to do with your body.
Before your speech, avoid large meals or dairy products, which will make you feel like you need to clear your throat incessantly. Bring a bottle of water on stage if you're allowed. Don't be afraid to take sips throughout your speech. It'll keep your voice natural, and it gives you a moment to pause and regain your composure if needed. Stand naturally, not too stiff or slumped. Good posture will help you breathe and speak easier, and it'll let your audience know that you're calm and in control.
Step 3, pander to your audience. The best public speakers know how to work the room. Don't be completely serious unless the occasion calls for it. Don't read entirely off the cards. Keep it natural, cadence and pace. Throw a joke or a side in. It'll draw in a laugh. If there's a silence, then turn that into a joke. Stay natural, self-effacing, and the audience will be on your side. Let's recap. You'd rather face a poisonous reptile than public speak, huh? Well, follow the Wellcast Triple P checklist. Prepare extensively for your speech. Know your content backwards and forwards, and figure out the absolute best way to present it and to win over your audience. Watch your posture and physicality. This includes everything from standing naturally to breathing from your diaphragm.
And pander to your audience. Keep them in the palm of your hand and with an easy demeanor, natural cadence, and of course, jokes.
Tweet us at WatchWellcast, email us at watchwellcast@gmail.com, or leave a comment down below. We'll see you next time.
to conclude, I would like to say that rhetoric has been something that I have really enjoyed learning about. I have never been a good public speaker. I have always struggled with posture, with my tone of voice, with being prepared. I have always hated public speaking. It has been one of the things that has always hurt me in my academic years. But in this class, I learned many new things that have really helped me, that have really provided me with tools for maybe future academic endeavors, job endeavors, that when I have to speak in public, I can be more confident. I can know now I know that I have to prepare with time. And I can use all of these tips about choosing a topic, about rhetorical devices, about appealing to a person's ethos, pathos, or logos, and all of the things that we have talked about are not only for TED Talks or only for speeches in this class. They're really helpful for everything that you can pursue in your life, and it has been really helpful for me. And I hope that this short little lesson has been helpful for you. Thank you.